What's going on? This is Coach Marcus for Pro Fan Talk, and as you can see, I had to put my mask back on because we have a viral outbreak in Philadelphia. There has been a viral outbreak of pettiness around the country pointed towards Philadelphia. So I figured I'd put my mask on so I don't have to be infected. I don't know what's going on with these media heads. Everybody's trying to take a dig at Philly. Now, I understand a lot of people don't like the Eagles, and that's okay. You like your hometown team or whatever. But the amount of digs and shade and just hate coming our way on some petty stuff is just weird all of a sudden. And it seems like you've got a lot of people in the media, I call them the media heads, and even some ex-players that just say some things that just don't make sense. Just don't make sense right now. From my understanding, or from my perspective, I remember there was a lot of criticism of Jalen Hurts, right? He's not the guy. He doesn't have the skills to play in the NFL. All of that kind of stuff. However, if that was your opinion last year, that was a valid opinion. He hadn't developed. He wasn't throwing the ball very well. He was running all over the place, but he couldn't. The rule is you got to be able to throw the ball in this league. Valid points. But when the shift came, when he did his 180, understood the assignment, came back this year and really started playing at a high level. I don't say he's an elite level quarterback yet, but he's better than 90% of the quarterbacks in the league right now. Now you can find other guys who can throw the ball a country mile and all that kind of stuff. And if those are your measurables, well then yeah, he's not gonna measure up to what you expect a quarterback to be. But as a player, my measurable is who can you count on to win you the game? And Jalen Hurts has shown that he can be that dude. Doesn't matter if he threw for a touchdown or ran for a touchdown. What matters is he got the touchdown. But everybody wants to throw shade because he doesn't do it their way, or everybody wants to be right. And everybody wants to be right first. So everybody's got something to say. I've said this before. You'll find a bunch of media heads. Like you take somebody like Cowherd, got a national show. He's good for saying stuff that's going to ruffle people the wrong way. Because his MO is you're either going to like him or you're going to hate him. But either way, you're going to tune in to watch him. So he's getting clicks from both sides. That's how he wins. So you can take him out of the equation. And then you got people like Chris Sims that just honestly just seems like he's got an axe to grind. He'll just rip and rip and rip. And every now and then he'll throw in, oh, but they're pretty good. And he'll throw the compliments smothered by all of the hate and the shade. And it's like, come on, dude, just watch the games. And you don't have to like what Jalen Hurts is doing, but you got to acknowledge it and you got to respect it. You got to respect it because he's getting the wins and everybody else isn't. All those other quarterbacks that are throwing for 8 million yards in the game, they're still coming out with the L's. So it doesn't matter how you're getting those wins, you're getting those wins. I'd be curious to see how many wins did Chris Sims get in his career and what his measurables were. What you do on the field is what matters, right? Then you got guys like Bart Scott, an ex-player, and some of the stuff he says is just like, dude, what are you looking at? And it'll all go under the blanket of his opinion. And hey, assholes and elbows, man. Opinions are like assholes and elbows. Everybody's got one. But you still have to have a level of intellect and a level of common sense before you say what you say. And it looks like the optics of it are he's getting into this realm where he's trying to put stuff out there to get the hate. Once again, kind of going the coward way. Love him or hate him, you want the clicks. You want the attention. And that seems to be everybody's thing. The linebacker for the 49ers, his wife, Warner, I think it's Fred Warner, his wife, apparently had such a bad time in Philadelphia because the fans were giving her the business. And all of a sudden it's dark energy and she had all this stuff to say. Then she tries to walk it back by saying, hey, it wasn't that big of a deal. And it's like, hey, you put that stuff out there. We didn't. You could have kept it silent. Nobody would have known and we would have kept it moving. But now her tweets or whatever went viral, which at the end of the day was what she wanted anyways. But her being a reality TV star means that she's not operating in reality in the first place. Real recognize real. So her energy was rejected. That's how I see it. I got to find that clip. There's a guy, a 49ers fan, where basically he laid down the law on what to do if you're going into another stadium, especially in Philly.
NFC Championship game day experience. I had a blast. If you're sensitive in the ears and light in the ass, turn the channel. This ain't for you. If you're going to Philly, there's a few things you should know. Have thick skin and a sense of humor. If that's on you, don't go to Philly. If you take everything personal and you're light in the ass, stay the hell out of Philly. That is a recommendation from yours truly.
But he's right. You got to have some thick skin and you better be able to give it and take it. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. But don't cry because you didn't like your experience because fans were doing what fans do. Now, having said that, you can go into every stadium in the league, every city. You're going to have assholes in every city. You're going to have fans that get drunk, been drinking too much, been smoking too much, or whatever the situation is, and they go over the top. That's a real deal. But that happens everywhere, not just in Philly, but for some reason, all of the eyes come to Philly when something like that happens. You never see it when it happens in San Francisco or SoFi Stadium or wherever. I could go on YouTube right now and find a bunch of clips of fans fighting each other in Dallas, in SoFi, in San Fran, in Oakland, all those different places, but it doesn't make national news until it's in Philadelphia. For goodness sake, y'all still talking about throwing snowballs at Santa Claus, and that happened in 1968. I wasn't even born. So everybody jumps on that media hype train. Then you had, what's his name? Julian Love this morning, the defensive back for the Giants.
From top to bottom, offense, defense.
You see this stuff though? Like, what's your reaction as a player? And that guy's doing that.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I mean, he's in for a free ride right now. You guys can coach this team and can succeed.
First, he wants to give love and, Philadelphia's a good team, blah, 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 blah. Then he pulls out the knife from his back and wants to stick you around the side talking about, anybody could coach that team. And it's like, no, nobody, as a former player, you should know better. You running with Dayball. So you know how important it is to have a good coach. So you can't take a professional team in the NFL and say everything is just on autopilot. It doesn't work that way. I don't care how good the team is. They tried to say that back in the 90s with Barry Switzer when he took over the Cowboys after Jerry Jones, like an idiot, fired Jimmy Johnson. I don't care how good the Cowboys were. You always need somebody competent to steer that ship. Because there's plenty of examples of the flip side of that. When you got a great team, but your coach don't know what the hell they doing. So all of that is just talk, man. It's just talk. I don't know where it came from. There's always been hate and shade for Philadelphia. But for this year, it seems we're at Hall of Fame levels right now. And it is just weird. It's just downright uncalled for. You done left everybody off of every post-game award. You got the 3 finalists for Comeback Player of the Year, and they all played last year. Meanwhile, Brandon Graham, who got hurt last year in week 2 from a popped Achilles, comes back at 34 years old and a healed rehabbed his Achilles, and has double-digit sacks at 34 years old. But he's not a finalist. Nick Sirianni's not a finalist for Coach of the Year. Going to the Super Bowl. Hassan Reddick's not Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Second in the league in sacks. And has been balling out in the playoffs when Nick Bosa hasn't done squat. So you ain't got to like us, and you ain't supposed to. But you got to respect us. You got to respect the game. You got to respect the game. Because you're supposed to be watching tape and taking it to the next level. Not just watching highlights. And that's the big problem. You got a lot of these media heads that got something to say and got opinions, and all they've watched is highlight. They don't study tape. They don't watch film. They in the studio. They ain't got time to do all of that. That's the difference. But for some of these former players to say some of the stuff that they've said, it's just straight out of bounds to me. But hey, do what y'all got to do, because at the end of the day, we are where everybody else wants to be. And they can't take that away from us. They can complain about it. Yes, I wish Brock Purdy could have played the whole game, but he didn't. That still don't mean that the 49ers didn't ball out. In my opinion, I don't care what the score was. Their defense was as advertised. Them jokers was flying around the field, making plays. But at the end of the day, our offensive line put it on their defensive line, and we started running the ball successfully. You can't operate without both sides of the ball. And 49ers suffered because they didn't have an offense when both their quarterbacks went down. So, but it is what it is, because if the situation was flipped, nobody was caring about what happened to us when Jalen Hurts went down after the Chicago game. They didn't give a damn. Dallas was trying to sneak in and get the division title. Giants was trying to sneak in there. Almost did. And then what happens? That we played that vanilla game against the Giants, that second game, last game of the year. And they played us well. And then they take that momentum, and all of a sudden things have changed. We're not as good a team as we used to be. And it's like, nah, it don't work that way. There's a method to the madness. Anybody that paid any attention could tell that the offense we were running against the Giants the second time was not our normal offense. Jalen Hurts was playing hesitant, and we were playing very, very trying to protect Jalen Hurts so he wouldn't hurt himself. And that's what we did. And we still came out with the win. Everybody's going to have their opinions, but we are where everybody else wants to be. But it is what it is. So take care of yourself. Avoid all the pettiness. And the Eagles will see y'all in the Super Bowl. Go Birds.